Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. And today we're talking about defining your message. Ultimately, the message you share with the world does more than define you. It identifies who will be attracted to your business and who will not. So this goes to show you the more defined your message is, the better. So part of the journey that every business owner and entrepreneur goes on is deciding on who they want to actually attract as a customer. And ironically, an obstacle for every business owner, entrepreneur in the beginning is deciding on who in the world they want to attract as a customer. One of those obstacles as part of this, especially in the beginning, is this notion of serving everyone. How many times have you heard someone say, "My product can help everybody"? And it makes you want to run away very quickly because typically this is at that stage where there's that unbridled enthusiasm because we're so excited about the product we have, and we should be. But at the same time, not everybody is going to want to buy it. Just like if you look at, let's take two companies such as Walmart and Saks Fifth Avenue. For the most part, you're not going to find people who are shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue at Walmart. And you're definitely not going to find that person who's looking, well, I'd like to find a good bargain in jeans. I'd like to get them from Walmart, going to pay, let's say, $300 for a pair of jeans at Saks. It's just not going to happen. This is why you have to be really defined in your message. Who do you want to attract? Because if you don't do that, guess what happens? A whole lot of nothing, because then your message falls on deaf ears. So when you're deciding upon what message you want to represent your product and your brand, you must know what emotions resonate with your audience. Because as people buy on emotions, we must learn to capitalize on them to attract our ideal clients to us. You might be thinking, well, that's manipulative. Well, no, it's not. Think about this. When was the last time you bought something and you thought, well, I just bought this because of all the features and you thought it logically about it? No, you thought, oh, I love the sound of this. I love how this car feels. Like, I love how this suit fits me. It's an emotion, and that's how we buy. So if you're still trying to think, well, how can I relate my marketing message to attract a certain client base? The easiest way to do it is look at any government election in the world. Now, without diving into political aspects of who's right, who's wrong, and all of that, I want you to look at the concept behind it. If you look at each party, every one of them has a client base that resonates with their message. And for the most part, the people that don't resonate with it don't like almost anything they stand for because it's very polarizing. And what you'll see with the message they put out there, they tap into those emotions. If you look at the presentation, the speeches, the ad material is tapping into what the beliefs are. What are the emotions that are tapped into that? Because you'll look at someone, if you think back to when the elections are going on Facebook, people are upset like, oh my gosh, how can they say that? And well, both sides are saying those things because they have an emotional attachment because they've they've invested in that message. And compare this to the people that are in the middle. How many of the candidates do you know that they did really well when they're just riding that middle line? And it's because they're not polarizing their message. They're not really standing for something that they draw a line in the sand. They're like, well, we're going to make everybody happy with a group hug. Well, in this type of world, it doesn't really work on that mass scale. So when you think about your business, you have to think of what can you say that's going to galvanize your ideal client base, where they think, I love this, I want more of it, versus, whatever. Think of the number of businesses that have come and gone where they were there, but because they never said anything that was really out there, really outlandish, you didn't even notice they were gone. You're like, oh crap, they're gone. Because they didn't tap into your emotions. But think about the place where there's a story where you've had memories where you might have been excited, you had a first date, you cried or whatever, and then that type of business announced they're closing their doors. Now everybody's in tears like, oh my gosh, how'd they be closing? That's what you want in that type of message. But here's something I want you to look at in terms of this, where you pull it into the online advertising world. when we are deciding on this, we have to understand what we want to communicate, what we want to represent, because people have choices out there of what they're going to look at. Because I want you to think about the number of marketing images that people are exposed to on a daily basis. Not just from if they're looking at ads on Facebook, but if you're just looking at the world as a whole. What are people doing? They're, let's say, reading the newspaper. They're looking at, different websites, so they're seeing ads there. They're driving along the street, they see billboards. If they're listening to the radio, they hear an ad there. People are exposed to ads consistently. And the ones you remember the most, they tap into emotion. If you're wondering what type of ad would be good for that, look at the Super Bowl. There's ads where people, oh my gosh, that's great. Now, granted, you don't remember them too long afterwards, but you want to understand the concept because they're using emotions as to what makes sense. Now, when it comes to online advertising, there's two components that you really must consider. One is visual and one is the ad copy. So we're looking at the visual component. This is by far one of the most critical aspects we have to consider. And this is because people will notice an image long before they see any of the ad copy. So with this, you need to think, well, what will invoke that emotion that makes people want to buy, makes them hungry for what you have to offer? So because of this, we have to think, what will arouse them? What will stand out? What will make them go, whoa, stop the presses. I've got to learn more about what's going on. This is why videos can be so powerful in a business, because when it invokes an emotion in the first 10 seconds, you've now got somebody. And that's what you need to think about is, if it's a static image, what will make them go, whoa, I need to stop and read the rest of this, or it's a video. Don't waste those first few precious seconds. You want it to be where you're in their face. You're like, hey, you need to watch this message because I'm going to change your life. That is the attitude that you must have. Now, the other component when it comes to messaging is the written word, because the written word's been around for a long time. But here it is critical to understand who you are marketing to. And this is a component that some people don't really get, because the average comprehension level in the world is like at the 5th grade level, which is kind of scary when you have people going to colleges and so forth, and like their comprehension level is a lot lower. But you want to make sure your message is understood by the masses. So, of course, it's dependent upon what your product is. If you're selling some high-end technical product, no, don't dumb it down, because that's not going to resonate. So you need to know your audience. But if you have a product that, let's say, it's lemonade, it's a t-shirt, it's whatever, you want to make sure that it appeals to the masses. And if you're unsure about, well, what type of ad could I write, just simply go to Amazon, and I'll put a link here in the notes for this, of a book that you can be able to pick up, which will give you examples of some award-winning ads. You'll look at it and think, wow, that's amazing. I never thought about it. Because look at what's worked before, and what you'll notice, there's a pattern. The most successful ads use the same type of format over and over again. People are not necessarily creating something new. They look at, how can I modernize this for the online world? How can I invoke that same emotion that people want to use to buy? So remember, the more simplistic that you can keep it and the easier to understand, the better for the masses. And the more complicated it is, sometimes, unfortunately, is the worse it's going to perform. So when you combine these two components properly, you're going to have a powerful combination that will attract your ideal customers to your business. So that's what I want you to focus on. Look at the messaging you're using in your business today and ask yourself a simple question. It's a 3-part question. 1, does it invoke emotion that your ideal client resonates with? That's the first thing. The second thing is the visual component. Is it exciting, and does it really inspire people to want to know more? And that last part is, does the copy, does it compel you to want to click it? If these things do not resonate, you need to redo it. So I hope you found value in this today. And what I would love for you to do is go to Entrepreneur Movement, just entrepreneurmovement.co, and join the Facebook group I have, because I'll be sharing valuable insights of how you can be able to improve your ad campaigns, how you can grow your business, and so forth in there. So do me a favor and join that Facebook group and share this episode out on iTunes and so forth, because there's people out there who need to hear this message. And once again, thank you for listening and making this a great podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.